Howdy, friends. Matt Shorty Wells. Again, you can see my face, so you know who I am. Hey, I am back. Still here at Rythmia in Costa Rica with another soul sister, my new friend, Bella. Bella just come off of her second week here, not consecutively, but your second. How long ago were you here? 3 months?
I was here in March.
March.
Yeah.
In March. So you came back for a second time. Some people are just a little crazy.
We like suffering.
We like suffering. We like the whole thing. Yeah, we don't have to. It's a fun experience.
It is.
So Bella, now, first of all, I have to say, I am very excited because Bella here is actually on the official Rythmia channel with one of the cool kids with Miss Kim, recorded yesterday, or was it today?
This morning.
This morning.
Yeah.
So you're just doing a circuit here of interviews.
I am.
So Bella, tell us, what would you say? Tell us just about your experience. I want to know too, at the end, I'm going to ask you, would you recommend people come to a place like this? Or at least my attitude is I don't necessarily generically recommend everybody do plant medicine, but I recommend generically everybody look into it and take a real critical look at what it is and what it offers. A few people in my personal life, I'll look in the eye and be like, you need to get to Rythmia, kind of a thing. But I want to know what your thoughts are on that. But just overall, tell us, what was your experience? Should somebody look into, and if they're considering already going, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend it. Obviously, I would say, it's not for everyone. I think it's pretty intense. I reached a point in my life, I've had a lot of trauma, which I hadn't recognized, but there's a lot of shit that's happened in my life. Oh, can I cuss?
Yes, fuck yes.
In that case, no. But I had, just a lot of stuff happened in my life, and I didn't realize that it was kind of holding me back, and making me react in some not so loving ways. In my personal life, but even professionally, you want to respond and you want to treat people with care and caution. And I just realized that I wasn't, being at my best. And so right around January, I kind of had I guess you could kind of midlife, but I literally ran away from home with the suitcase. I went and got an Airbnb, and I said, I have to do something. And I didn't want to do therapy, like 1 hour a week where you talk and then you wait until the next time you talk to your therapist. I wasn't going to cut it. And I didn't know what I needed, but I wanted to do something big and drastic. And so packing up a suitcase and going to a whole other country by myself, everyone thought I was crazy. But I just found it randomly on Instagram. There was actually a chick, was my daughter's hairdresser, was in the hammock the morning after one of her journeys, posted a video. And it just caught my attention. And I said, what is this? Where is she? What is this transformation that she's been, experiencing?
You out of here?
Well, I'm not out of here. I'm going to bed.
Right.
Sally's pretty awesome too, by the way.
Gosh, you're
Will you?
Yeah, you want me to?
Hell, I would love for you to.
Okay.
Are you good?
Well, let me get out of this
Okay.
one.
Oh,
So
cool. Fucking
I
A.
feel any thunder here.
Oh, that's exciting.
Right out.
Okay, we can. We'll get you coming in saying hi if you want, if that's cool.
So we're saying about,
So yeah, how you found it was with the Instagram post.
it was an Instagram post. and she
Seemed
was-
random, right?
It was
It's
super
just the
random,
universe
but
kind of working.
they say that Mother Ayahuasca calls you long before you make the phone call to come here. And I saw the breadcrumbs. I saw the little nagging, do something, but something big. And what's bigger than jumping, packing a suitcase and going to another country, doing something with a bunch of people you don't know, talk about trusting. But yeah, I saw her in the hammock talking about her experience, and I kept clicking every time she posted something, and I was watching her, and she was just glowing, and I could see like she went through some ugly moments, but at the end of her post, at the end of her conversation, there was always a silver lining or the aha moment. And so I'm like, that's what I want right there. Like, help me work through some stuff, And so that's kind of what made me come. And when I came in March, it's funny because I almost didn't come to the first ceremony. I don't know if I told you, like I tried to hide in my room.
Oh no, I didn't hear that part.
So I was like, oh, I'm coming. Well, so just to back up a little bit, January is when I ran away from home with the suitcase. And I was gonna go get an Airbnb, and Nancy, my friend, was actually house sitting. She had a little house kind of in the woods, and I went there and I was hanging out and I was talking and I was crying and rubbing my eyes, and my eyes were hurting. And then I realized by the end of the day, I had plucked out all of my eyelashes. Just pulling at them, and that's not normal.
Right.
I pay a lot of money to get these babies, though. But it's so I was just stressed out, and it was just I reached my breaking point with a lot of things, and so I decided to come here, and so I started researching videos and kind of figured out and what is it, and I heard about all the bad stuff and all the good stuff, but I was prepared to come. And so when I got here, I was like, okay, I'm so excited. Sunday, talking to people. And then Monday I woke up and I had all this fucking anxiety. And I was like, what is this? I'm like, okay, I don't want to go. I know, I'll stay in my room and then I'll come up at breakfast and I'll go, okay, how was it? And I'll just get everyone's story.
Get a feel for it.
Right. And I did. They came knocking on the door in the morning at 9:05. Bella, you're late for class. And they actually took the golf cart, took me to class. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm late for class. I was actually trying to skip it, but I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't, because I would have missed out. So I was a little scared because of the horror stories, but then I got to experience it. And I actually went and talked to JJ, and I said, look, JJ, I'm here. I want to deal with all this stuff, but there's this other stuff that I don't want to deal with. But I know that's not how it works. You know, whatever's going to come up for you is going to come up for you. And so I went in and I did get a bunch of clarity, and I got a lot out of it, but I didn't deal with this stuff. And so went back home. And then the other thing, I didn't continue the practices that I promised myself that I was going to do.
That's a big part of it, is the integration.
The integration.
Half of the work is drinking the tea and doing the purging.
Right.
Right.
But then it's making sure to connect to source, whether it's, you know, God, Buddha, mother, whatever it is, connect to source, to your higher self, making time for yourself and making yourself a priority. And so many of us don't value ourselves like I would my number one client. And I need to be my number one client. And so it's like, I am going to put myself on the calendar as if I'm my number one client, because if I'm not good to me, who's going to be good to me, you know? And so it was not meditating in the morning. And I had all the things, you know, I set up my little altar, and I had the singing bowl, and I had the playlist, and I had the essential oils and the diffuser. I
But
had
you weren't
all
going
the
through the
things,
process.
but it's in the corner of my bedroom, this whole beautiful space that I looked great when I walked by it in the morning to brush my teeth, but I didn't continue doing those practices. And the bitterness started to come back, and all these things started to come back because I forgot to keep doing these things. So it is so important to integrate it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Healing is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if you don't do the things, it's very easy to fall back into your same patterns. I have had these patterns for 46 years, so it's not going to be easy to break them, but I needed to develop new things. And so I came back to kind of work through some of those things, and it takes a lot of courage. I didn't want to forgive, you know, my brothers, some stuff that happened, and it's been 2 years since I talked to them, and you were next to me when I lost my shit.
Yeah, I was.
Wait, I was next to you when I thought you were sleeping, and I had secondhand FOMO, because I was like, wake up, you're missing the party.
It was in a sonata though. I was nodding.
Yeah. And I was like, no, you can't be catching Z's right now. Like, you're gonna miss the circus, dude. And so I had secondhand FOMO.
Yeah, but that experience with your brother, that was at the concert. We towards the end of the night.
It was towards the end of the night. It was towards the end of the night. I worked through some stuff, and I talk about it in the video with
oh, cool.
in the Rythmia video.
So did I mention that? You're on the Rythmia channel.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that yet. We've been here doing this.
So she asked me about that, and you know, before I went in, I went and I talked to Ronnie, one of the shamans, and I said, look, there's this thing I've been dealing with, and it's so big and it's so ugly, and I don't know how to set intentions around it. I don't know how to deal with it. And he's like, you know what, you have to forgive. And I'm like, I don't really want to forgive, because the anger serves me. Because if I have to replace that anger, that means I have to replace it with sadness, and I don't want to feel that sad. Then I realized that there's so many other emotions that you can replace it with. It doesn't have to be sadness. There's compassion, there's love, there's there's so many other things. And so
we're meaning creation creatures. We give it anything the meaning it has for us. So
I just didn't want to do it. And then in my journey, I saw myself writing them a letter, and I was writing, and I think as I was talking to them, I was writing a letter. And then when I was finished, you know, in my days, I looked at the piece of paper, and all it said is "No soy la misma," which means I'm not the same without you. Oh. And it was in Spanish, and that was the one thing. And I was like, oh God. And you know, that brief moment, I was like, I need to see my brothers. I was like, oh, nope, can't do it. Still couldn't do it. And then I was, you know, face down, and I hear the music, and Shane was playing all the different songs, and
Four Non-Blondes came up.
Four Non-Blondes, which is such a random song from like 20 years ago, but it sparked the memory.
I think it was longer than that. We're old. Anyway.
You're old. I'm clinging. But it was a long time ago. And I just remember being at a party, and that song came on. I just remember we were dancing and jumping up and down and like holding hands. And I just remember the memory. And for some reason, I tied that song to that memory. Yeah. And I hadn't heard that song in over a decade probably. And the song came on. I remember I was like, I can't believe this song. Oh my God, because it was so relevant to everything. And I think Spirit came through Shane to play that for me, because he was going to take that song to break my heart wide open. And it wasn't until that moment I was like bawling. I was like fetal position. Yeah. I was on my knees. I was standing. Then I was like, oh, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. What's going on? I'm like, is anyone else singing? I'm like a fool. Like went through everything. The room
was singing to you.
Oh my God, yeah. And I just remember at one point you just reached over because you just saw me going through it, and I'm like, oh, I'm so going through right now. But it was hard. But when that song came on, I just started bawling and crying, and like I had to really dissolve my ego and forgive the unforgivable. And by the end of that night, I was just like, I have to see my brothers, you know. And a big part of it is, you know, it's with other family members that might feel betrayed if I do reach out, if I do have. And so there's just this big thing. But I think forgiveness is a gift to ourselves. And that's what I finally realized. And it'll help my parents, you know? So that was, I think, the biggest piece, the one that I wasn't willing to work through because I was too afraid to confront and deal with and work through when I came back in March, which is kind of why I came back. So that one was huge. And then I would say probably my other one, my big aha moment was, and I think I talked about this in class maybe, is there was a day when my husband said, you know, I don't know why you always go around saying you had a great childhood, like it was all fucking perfect. Like, yes, no, fucked up shit happened to you. And I was like, why would you say that? Don't change my perception of my life.
Right.
How dare you?
Right.
And I was so pissed. Like, how dare you rip off my rose-colored glasses? And I was so pissed. And I thought about that day after day, and like it would come up for me for weeks. And I was so pissed. And, you know, and then fast forward, I started thinking about what he said. And I'm like, you're right, that did happen. But it took me a while to process what he said. And then it took me a while to realize, oh, we have a dance we do. I'm like, you did this to me. You did this to us. You need to go fix that. But I wasn't looking inward at my part in things and the healing that I needed to do and the way I responded in some not so loving ways. And so it took me, I wouldn't even say him, you know, breaking me down, but I kind of, you know, just breaking down all the barriers and realizing that I got some shit I need to deal with too.
Right.
And it took that for me to really look inwards and finally decide like, okay, I need to come here. And then it turned from how dare you rip off my glasses to, you know what, thank you for saying that. Because had you not said that, it wouldn't have pushed me and pissed me off to the point where I had no choice but to look inward, you know? So that was like the other like huge piece for me. And when I talked to Kim about it, she's like, that was brave. It's brave to go from fucking dare you to like,
Oh, wow, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I
Forgive the
actually,
unforgivable, and was one of our assignments in this thing.
yeah,
Forgiving
forgive the
the
unforgivable.
yeah.
And it's one thing to come to that realization, but it's a whole nother to go home and say, you know what, that thing you said, I
Thank
was
you.
so pissed, but thank you, you know?
Mhm.
So that was the other thing, the other realization that I came to. So it was huge. It was good for me, you know, and I've learned a lot of compassion for people. So I kind of went back and I compared it to being a parent, you know, when your kid is acting a fool and throwing a tantrum and bouncing off the walls or whatever, you stop and you're, okay, wait a minute, there's an unmet need here. Let's look past the behavior. You're hungry or you're tired or you need a nap or you need a hug or whatever. And we all have that little child inside of us. So when someone is not behaving at their best or behaving badly, it's like, okay, what's really going on with you? You know, because you're acting like an ass right now, but what's really going on? So it's actually giving me that ability to kind of see past the behavior that before it was like, it's so shitty, I'm not talking to you anymore, you know? And it's having the compassion to ask the question and be willing and have the patience to wait for that answer that might not be now or 5 minutes from now, because that person might not even realize it. But when you say it, they're like, oh, damn, you're right, I was being a jerk. And maybe maybe there is something going on with me, you know? And sometimes that's helpful for the other person too. So it's slowed me down to catch that split second when you could easily drop an F-bomb and you could easily just, you know what? But it's catching yourself like, you know what, there's something else going on here, you know? So I somehow learned all of that in Rythmia. So, you know how they say it's 10 years worth of therapy in a week, like it literally is.
Yeah.
It literally is, because, and it's funny because it's not like there's a therapist here talking to you, it's self-discovery.
Oh, yeah,
They're
right.
all like just these aha moments that come to you.
What would you suggest is so you described it as self-therapy, and that's a way that I would definitely describe it as well. But you hear a lot of the tonality as Mother Ayahuasca and whatnot, like it's this third person persona that they're experiencing. And one thing I've noted is of all the accounting that I've heard from people who are interacting with, having the consults, as they call them, with this Mother Ayahuasca, it always seems to be in that individual's voice. Like Patrick said, Mama's cooking. You know, other people have other way. You know what I'm saying? It's always she speak like, look me in my eyes.
Oh my
you know
God.
Like, is that not a Bella? I mean, is that your energy? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Right?
And it was
so
when I saw the what do they call it? The sacred geometry. And it was
that's
this
what
time
we were
it
trying to
was
say that earlier. Sacred geometry.
sacred geometry. Yeah. When I saw it, and last time I was here, it was like fluorescent lights, and it was like, it's like really cool, and actually looked like one of my friend Jody's paintings. And I said, oh shit, I'm inside Jody's painting. It was so cool. This time it was like all this pixelated stuff, and then like the gaps in between or whatever, the pattern got tighter, and then it looked like lace, and then it got tighter, and then it looked like snakeskin. And then I saw the eyes, and that as soon as I saw the eyes, I looked away because I was, oh shit, those are eyes. Like I didn't. And then I heard, well, let me back up. the 2 days before that, I said, how come I haven't felt her presence? And I grew up Catholic. I grew up, it was Jesus, and then I got a little away from that and became Christian, and I knew there's higher power and it was God. And then now it's even broader because there's so many, everyone can pray to someone or something different, or
It's all
your
just as
higher self,
effective.
right?
Yeah.
So I remember just looking away and thinking, well, I was saying, I haven't felt her presence. It's been 2 days, and how come she hasn't shown up for me? She hasn't talked to me. I just haven't felt her. And then when I finally started going to my journey and I saw the eyes, she said, look me in my eyes. And I looked over and like, she was pissed. And she said, I've been here. You just haven't asked. You never invited me in. And then I thought about it and I said, I haven't. Even when you're walking sometimes and you're stressed out, you're like, oh God, please, like, let me get through this or help me. Or you're in the car, wherever you may be. Sometimes you connect to your source for inspiration or for strength or for clarity or to calm you, whatever it may be. And I hadn't done that. I didn't even try in my mind to connect at any point. So when she said that, it was right. I didn't call for her. I didn't say, show me, who I've become. None of the things that they were asking us to practice. I was going through the motions the first 2 days. And so I stopped and asked myself, how often do I go through life going through the motions and getting pissed at people for not showing up for me when I didn't even ask? And then the next thing was, well, how often do I not show up for myself and get pissed for the things that aren't happening and things that aren't getting done, the calm and the peace that I'm not getting because I'm not doing the practices.
Right.
So it kind of went from that.
How come I don't have inner peace? I got an altar sitting over there.
Yeah, I have no idea why. Will somebody
Right.
sit in that goddamn corner
Right.
and give me some inner
Will
peace?
somebody do this
Will
work for me?
somebody
Yeah.
just deliver that shit to me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I order it on Amazon and have it delivered in 2 days? Didn't come that easy. So right, it was showing up for myself. So it went from one thing to the other. And so it's just kind of like that snowball effect. And then I realized it's showing up for myself and doing the work for myself.
Yeah.
But she was pissed at me for not showing up. And so everyone has a different higher power or someone that they pray to, or it could be like yourself. But you're right, it was definitely my voice. I think I even heard a little snapping there.
Yeah. Oh, there was. I heard that. You were right next to me when you were sharing that night.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just when you were accounting of it that night, that morning, whatever these things are, they're all rolling in.
The one big blur.
But and that's just something that I've noticed is the accounting of their experience with the consults always seem to be in the voice and attitude spirit of the individual having that experience. Right. And I find that interesting. I find that interesting as someone who has not had a consult per se, that I can say that.
I hope you don't get Samuel L. Jackson or anything like
That'd
that.
be cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can't even.
Motherfucker, look over here.
You don't look me in my eyes. You don't have a problem.
That'd be cool. Start. Oh, well, this is going to be more of a mother though. That'd be a Boga or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, there you go. Totally different.
Yeah, it'd be different. I love it. Thank you for coming on. And so, I mean, honestly, so let me ask you this. You would definitely say, I would suggest, it seems like you got a miracle. You got your miracle. You got, this was worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And I knew I needed something big. Like I said, therapy wasn't going to do it. And I'll also share very personal. I was actually on antidepressants for about 1.5 years before I came here. And when I reached my wits end, I'd been thinking about it for a while, like, this helped me cope while the shit was hitting the fan, but I don't want to do this forever. And I don't want to take these pills, and I don't want to. And when I made the call, they actually said, well, you have to get off of them. You can't come here if you're on antidepressants. And so that was my clue that I was headed in the right direction. And I said, okay, I have to be off for 30 days. So I looked at my calendar and I weaned myself off. And I said, okay, by this day, I'm going to be off. I'm going to give myself 2 extra weeks just to make sure I'm not going to lose my shit. And then I was completely clean and didn't have them anymore. And I paid for the trip and I came, and I haven't needed them since. No, there's definitely been some peaks and valleys.
That's life.
But nothing that makes me want to go back to that, because I'd rather do this with cool fucking people like you all over again. I would definitely say, and I tell people, like, it's not easy. It's not easy. This isn't like you're coming to a carnival or festival and it's like woohoo, all fun. It's hard, but you know what? Do it scared. Even if you're going to do it scared.
That's kind of the whole point. It seems to be it wants you to trust, your higher self, God, Mother Ayahuasca. Let's just use that. Wants you to trust. Wants you to go in with the uncomfortable. And that's the whole idea of growing pains. It's it's just like any other growing pain when your body's growing and whatnot. It's the same thing. It seems like it's not supposed to. I said in the conversation with Cynthia, you can look good or you can get better. Choose one.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It-
And it's like what you've been doing hasn't been working, or you wouldn't be looking at this. You wouldn't be
Right.
Googling and looking at these videos if it
Right.
wasn't. But she starts to call you, long before.
yeah.
And I think the big thing too is, there's a lot of stigma around it. There's so much stigma
A lot of
around
ignorance around it.
plant medicine, but it's nothing new. It's been
That's-
around for 5,000 years.
Yeah, that's just it. This is not
It's not new.
experimental. It's not theoretical. It's natural as shit. I
Our
mean, literally
ancestors have
comes from
been-
fucking nature, right?
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Like, is it by chance that we have receptors to this? Like, is it by chance that we get the reaction that we do? No, I think it's there for
And there's such a
reason.
universe, and I mean, honestly, the knowledge and insight that is gained cannot be debated. It's not theoretical
Well,
here.
there's science. I was reading that Forbes magazine article this morning. There's science behind it now. They've
Mm,
started,
researching. That
they
too,
started
actually, yeah.
researching, and they're showing that it's fixing DNA and it's helping depression. And so now they're putting, not in the US, but
Well, the pill
because-
company's still got a stronghold on some shit
Right.
right now.
and I won't go into like the whole history of it, but women were healers. There's gatherers and there's the hunters, and we were out gathering plants and healing people and using plant medicine. And this is nothing new, but then we women were deemed witches, and the feminine divine was suppressed, and that whole thing, and then the Native Americans, there was healers, and there was a lot of plant medicine back then.
Yep.
And Western medicine came along and said, we have penicillin, we have pills,
Yeah, well, we can sell you.
we have Pfizer.
We have shit we can sell you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it
and
became a
let's,
money thing, and like, well, wait a minute, these plant
demonize all
healers.
this other shit.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
that happened, and
The natural modalities.
they were witches, and they were burned, and they were killed, and that whole, we know what the
Mhm.
history is. That's not in
Yeah.
our school books.
Right.
But there's all that history behind it. It's like, so it's not new. It's
Mhm.
like, but like Brad said in ceremony, he said, the world, if you look at it right now, the world is hurting. The world is hurting, with global warming, with just the uprisings, with war, with disease, with everything. The world is hurting. And they
Fear's
said,
rampant in the
yeah.
world.
And now he said it's time for the world to have what we once had, because they took it to the jungle and kind of kept it there for a while. And they said it's finally time to get it out there. And there's a debate about, oh well, this is so commercialized now. There's places like this, but you know what? If this is what makes
wrong
someone
about it?
comfortable,
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to have a nice bed and a mattress
I mean,
and a
look,
spongy floor.
we could do this in the woods and whatnot. And for some, that's the perfect way to do it. But I
Yeah.
mean, we're a 5-star, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 5-star resort. This is.
We
yes,
are,
yeah,
we are.
we're
And
a
I'm first class
5-star
Bella.
First class Bella. And I mean, yeah, she wasn't going to go to the woods to get that healing. It wasn't going to happen. Right. First class Bella's like, no, I need some fucking air conditioner and a pool.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a nice bucket with the logo on it to puke into. Although
Yeah.
I didn't level up with 2 buckets. so.
And I bragged that I puked in 2 buckets one night, and I felt like I leveled up. But I conversation at the pool later. I just puked I didn't purge really yet. I just purged about this. Where's my that way?
Yeah.
This much of the ayahuasca drink, so I had to go replace my first shot right away. And I didn't want to walk around the rest of the night with a puke bucket, so I got another one. And then I later did basically the same thing
Like
on my
2
third
buckets,
shot.
you really leveled
My
up.
third shot did the same thing. My third shot, I took it, puked it right back up, and then I had to get a 4th shot to replace the 3rd shot. I have to got to find out how many shots that I did during this whole thing. I got to think back on
The
that
most
a
I did
little
was 2.
bit. Really?
And yeah, that's the most I did. But what's interesting, I don't know if you heard them say, Mother Ayahuasca, she knows how to adjust your prescription. Because I asked, if you're a 100-pound woman or a 300-pound man, like, should you take 6 versus 1? No. And so there was one night, last time when I came, there was one night when I took a half, because I wasn't feeling good from the night before, but I wanted to take some. And I was floored with that half. I
Really?
couldn't believe it. I was floored. It was I was crawling on all 4s. And then the next night, I couldn't do the Thursday night sermon. So the next night I was like, I'm going to take 2 shots. And then if I don't, I'm going to take a 3rd, like I'm going in deep tonight,
Mhm.
And I took the first one. I was laying there, waiting, didn't feel anything. I went and took the second one, waiting, didn't feel anything. And then I got pissed because I wasn't going to do the next sermon. I got pissed, and I'm like, so I'm connected to source, but now I was pissed at her. Maybe that's why she got pissed at me this time, because I told her off last time. But I took the second one. I was like, okay, what's the deal? I thought we had an agreement. I take it, I surrender. You take me to Kaleidoscope World, you get some answers.
Right.
Like, what's the deal here? Like, I'm not feeling shit. Like, you're not showing up for me. I was sitting there and I was just like, and I had very specific answers. It was about my relationship. It was like, I had very specific answers. And I was sitting there and I was just pissed. I'm like, everyone else is just over there doing all the things and dancing. And I wasn't feeling shit. And I was pissed. I'm like, I had 2 and nothing. You're not showing up for me. And then I sat down and I went, and all of a sudden, like all this laughter, like all this laughter just came up, and I remember my head went back, and I said, and I just started laughing my ass off. And I said, oh, this is the part where I have to look inward, and all the answers are inside of me, and I need to figure. You're not going to give me the answers. And I just kind of saw a little. And as soon as I said that, as soon as I said that, and I was, because I was laughing and I saw her go, I'm not saying, I was like, oh, you're not saying shit. This is where I got to figure. I have the answers inside of me. You're not going to give them to me. And I went like this, and it was like someone took the rug in the room and just went. I literally saw the whole room wave, and then everything came to me. So she waited until I completely surrendered.
It is about us.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it doesn't matter whether you take a half or 2 or 7 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
She's
think
gonna
it
give
is.
you
I
what
think
you
it's
need.
about our expectations and our receptivity,
Right.
our availability to being receptive to hearing it and acknowledging, and
It truly
it's
is
not
all
about
about
the
us.
dosage.
No, it's not. And it
I
doesn't matter.
I don't know. I'm a shaman. What the fuck, I don't know.
In my expert opinion, over the years, over the years that we've done this,
Yeah,
it's been all
yeah.
of 72 hours.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, no, but it's been an incredible experience. That's, if you're watching these videos and if you're wondering if you want to go, 5-star resort is here. It's beautiful. It's great. The food is phenomenal. So this place, it's like I work here. Huh?
Yeah.
Am I
Well,
gonna
this
get
is
a
the
commission?
place.
No.
This is the place to do it.
It
I would
is.
think for most Westerners,
people
unless
are-
you're into hunting and camping, or camping out
Twigs in
woodsy
your
and
ass.
stuff.
Yeah.
Twigs in your ass.
If that's your
Uh,
thing,
Then
then
yeah.
go there.
Rock
But
on. But here's the thing too. I mean, not to sell this particular resort, although I endorse this one
Yeah.
full fledged. Man, they have paramedics here. I mean, it's a medically
Right.
staffed. You know what I mean? Like they're giving you all the things.
everything, it's very intentionally thought out. Not just the staff, but like colonics, the
Yeah.
massages,
Oh, the yoga, the breath work.
breath work.
I mean, everything about what they
food.
do here is very dialed in.
Everything.
They've had over 9,000 people through the door so far. By the way, I was thinking about this. It's kind of neat to say because I think this place is going to go down in history as one of the most, one of the significant places that's having significant impact in the world right now. And we're one of the first 10,000 people through the door here, by the way,
Mhm.
because they just recently had 9,000 people come in.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Right.
Right. Like,
And it's gotten
we're
better
starting
every time.
something.
I think that they always
Oh,
get
they're
a
dialing
little
it
bit
in.
better,
Oh, yeah,
a
they're
little
not
bit
down.
better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna put anybody on blast, but there's been a couple of celebrities.
oh, for sure. Oh,
I
plenty.
had
This place
someone
is
sit
known.
across the table from me tonight, and I looked up and I'm like, oh my God. Can I
Yeah,
take a
somebody on
picture?
Oprah I heard. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
so
talk
she-
names, but yeah, I met her for
Sat
half a
right,
second.
yeah, she
that's
sat right
cool.
across from me, and I thought, if this person who is, it's like I admire her so much. If she's here doing this work, and
All right. We did these videos right in the middle of the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or not the kitchen, but the restaurant. There's the
The
pool
pool.
is right there this way.
and it's
So,
the last day, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
goodbyes.
yeah. Well, you were saying something.
I was saying, it's incredible. Today, I, ran into a celebrity that was sitting eating across from me, and it's someone that I respect and admire.
Oh, you
so
familiar with that
much.
person?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
follow her and I watch her videos and I have her books, and I actually wrote into her not too long ago. And so if that ain't spirit, I don't know what is. I'm sitting there
Wow.
eating my food and I look up and she's right across the table from me, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
floored. I looked and I said, oh, I know who you are. She's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And then I was like, you know what? She probably doesn't want to be bothered. And I
Right.
said, and I'll totally respect that. Would you hit me if I took a picture of you? But no, I didn't. I totally respected her privacy. But, it just made me realize that we all have a little something that we could work on to polish
yeah.
ourselves off to be shiny little diamonds.
Yep.
And, if someone like that is here, because it's a 5-star resort, it would worth it.
You think she would have gone out in the woods? Probably not. A
Mm-mm.
lot of people wouldn't. And whatever you're into.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it in the
I'm a
woods.
camper. I love the woods. But
Yeah.
I love camping. I really do.
This is an experience I feel like you'd want to do in a 5-star resort like
On a
this,
mattress.
right? Yeah. This is
With a fluffy pillow.
yeah. Comfortable. Everything about this place.
Super. You're held spiritually, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
You're
And
really
the
held.
staff here, honestly, I can't say enough
Yeah.
about the staff. Everybody that works here, not just, I mean, the shaman obviously are just absolutely amazing in what they do in the environment they create in the Maloka. The night of the ceremonies, those
Yeah.
guys, everybody in there from the musica, what is it? They're
Oh,
not
the
musicians,
musicos.
musicos.
Mhm.
We had a band called Mama's Boy, Mother Ayahuasca,
Mhm.
Mama's Boys. Boy, they were killing it. That was absolutely fantastic what they did that night. Just everybody and all the staff here at the
Right.
restaurants.
They
just
just
everybody- they know your
genuinely. I was just gonna say, doesn't it? Like the first time I was here, I was freaked out. Like, And Arabella, I'm at the pool. I heard you needed a shuttle. And I'm like, I've never seen you before in my life. The fact that everyone like knows your name, I'm like,
I kept saying, man, you're really good at that. That's amazing. Like,
well, then I realized like, I saw someone, I think it was in the restaurant, they had like the clipboard with all of our pictures and our names.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's like, that's how much they care and they want to personalize your experience.
Yeah.
That Jerry wants to make sure that everyone calls you by your first name and knows whatever you need. They bring you whatever you need. And I feel like a superstar. I was like, you know who I am, you know? So, but everything is so intentional and with so much care. But like you said, the staff, and I don't know how the shamans do it to hold space for people while they're going through their own journey.
Yeah.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah. Well,
it takes a special person
they
to do
get
that.
fed spiritually in a lot of ways to this. This is a lot of it's surely taxing in a lot of ways, but also because that was commented on, you know, I think it was Nancy. Somebody had said in there something about you know, y'all taking on all of our stuff, and the shaman was like, we don't take it on though. We just help you release it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It kind of bounces off of them. Right.
Yeah.
It just bounces off of them.
They know it's not theirs. And I think that's kind of the point that we should all understand too, is that the bullshit, whatever, is not ours to hold on to.
Right.
You know, let it go. You don't have to hold it. It's not
Right.
serving you or your world. That's one of the biggest things I would recommend for people to get to a place like this. Is it's almost selfish not to work on yourself and give your world the best version of you that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is really all about, because it's the whole put your oxygen mask on first kind of a thing. What good are you? You know, the best thing you can do for poor people, not be one of them. You know what I mean? Same attitude. So,
and the people around you will love you for it because you come back different, able to hold space for other people.
mm-hmm.
You come back responding differently, and it's a gift to your loved ones
More love.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More
You're out
love.
there spreading love.
More connection.
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely. You know, this place is absolutely incredible. And so, and I remember the first time I came and I was sitting in the class and someone said, oh, this is my second time, my third time. And I was like, oh, fuck, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You 3 or 4 times, but I'm like, you know,
I was looking for, I really wanted the shot. I wanted the pill. I want to be done.
Right, to be done. But I'm like, you know what? The whole onion thing, it's like the shit gets piled on over the years. The older we get, the more things that happen to us. And that was one of my intentions, is like, I want to be who I was before the world got a hold of me. And that's what I want to get back to, you know. And like I was commenting earlier, some of the girls that are here, they're like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, there's a couple young people here.
Thank God you came here.
There's
You're still a shallot or a garlic, not when you're an onion. You're not so many layers to peel back. Like, I'm glad you're doing the work when you're early, but it's true. It's like I would probably come back another time, you know, because we're never done, you know. Like, I worked through some stuff, but I'm like, if I can get better at whatever it is, whatever, because I had some breakthroughs that came through that I didn't even know came through, about like my purpose, my career, what I want to do differently, you know, in my life. I was coming to deal with like traumas and bullshit, but like there were some aha moments, and in many of the conversations, people sharing, I'm like, you know what, I think I want to go a different direction now too, something more fulfilling, things that my mind kind of opened up to new possibilities. And that's a beautiful thing right there.
Very beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Bella, is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to say before we close it up to them? I mean,
I think the one thing is, if this is someone watching that's thinking about doing it, like I said, do it scared, but do it.
And I'm going to link up in the description box below her interview with Kim. Kim interviewed her here from Rythmia and on the official Rythmia channel. So that's going to be cool. We're going to link that one up in the description below. Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad I met you. You better keep in touch.
For sure.
Send me a funny card.
Thanks for being a part of my journey. Oh, you know you're gonna
I know. You got to make one that says secondhand promo.
Welcome, goddesses, healers, medicine women, mothers. This is the G code. I am all that I preach to be. I invite you all to take a leap with me. Astral projecting through frequency. Let's vibe it out, smoke this leaf for me. Keep it enchanted. I am all that I preach to be. I invite you all to take a leap with me. Astral projecting through frequency. Let's vibe it out, smoke this leaf for me. Keep it enchanted. I really wanna hit a Palm Springs. queens. We've been manifesting, finding things. All our dreams. Rulers of the green reign supreme. Getting cream. Surround myself with ultra light beams. That's the team. Descendants of the kingdom of Kush. Down in Venice smoking blackberry kush. I do what I want. I do it for fun. I do it for us. I do it with love. Celebrating life on a daily. The more I do that, the more they pay me. Elevation every day, I'm committed. First I see it, then I go out and get it. If you wanna feel love, you gotta give it. Don't ever let them knock you off your pivot. Keep your vibes high, don't you get it? It's a journey, so your work is never finished. If you wanna see it happen, write it down. That's law. I usually like to copy.